Hello, everyone. I wanted to come on here because I have been. It's like 3:30 in the morning where I'm at right now, and I just been binge watching on our internet about this debate between Wes Hoff and Billy Carson, and knowing the fact that I also know that Billy Carson's ex-wife was a Jehovah Witness, and so just saying that me myself, I was raised as a Jehovah Witness, and I've also that was like my foundation of my spirituality. So I've always studied the Bible. I even have it here right now, and this is a Bible that Jehovah Witnesses actually read from, and I still have this, and I reference from this all the time. Um, but the debate, I watched the whole debate, and I had some questions about it. The main thing is, for one, the argument was about the Codex Sinai. I can't even say the word. The Codex of the Sinai Bible that Billy Carson was referring to. You know, I have never read that, and Wes may have been correct about what he said. He is a historian. He does his research and all that. Now, if Billy Carson did not do his research before he actually put that out there, then maybe he should go back into his resources and correct and make the corrections himself. But that being said, besides all that, when it comes to the Bible per se, it is written by men. There is what says there are historical facts that backs up the Jesus as far as Jesus existence, and he has his method of how he finds evidence of how all this stuff was, how all these things were um, proven or whatever. So my thing is this: are you going by what was said in the Bible as proof, or what is your methodology as far as that goes? I do have some questions for Wes. I'm not gonna lie, I do have some questions for him, and also my other question will be about Paul, and because most of his books has been in the Bible, especially the New Testament. So that will be my next question. And I started following Billy Carson based off the fact of his expertise and his knowledge of the dealing with the ancient tablets of Egypt and the Anunnaki and things of that sort. When it came to the biblical part of it, I never really heard him really speak on that part. So, and I knew that that's something he probably was just now probably getting into and trying to be knowledgeable into or whatever, but he knew that it tied into what he was already studying. And he might not have been proficient in it, just like Wes was, but like Wes said, before you put anything out there, you might want to do some fact checking when you're on a big platform like how Billy Carson was. But that just all I mean, I just been going back and forth in my head about the debate, and there were some good points made, some absolutely good points made on that podcast. Um, Now, when it comes to Christianity, to each his own. I mean, you believe what you want to, or whatever. I was raised as a Christian. Like I said, my mom was a Jehovah Witness, so all we did was study the Bible, and I've been studying the Bible since I was a child. And but I never got baptized, and there was because I felt like there were still questions that needed to be answered. Excuse me. There were still questions that needed to be answered that I did not. I felt like I wasn't. I didn't have all the knowledge that I needed to make my final decision as far as that goes. Um, but I wanted to dedicate my life to the belief, but what I read, but not to the religion. I wanted to dedicate my life to knowing of who I am as a person, knowing the fact that what was written in the book, that it can lead me to a peaceful life within, not the fact that, oh, this is written by man, because there's a lot of stories in this book. They are dark and they are scary, and um and if this is a proof, if these stories are true, whatever, then I don't really want to focus on that. I want to focus more so on how the positive in the book, and the positivity came to me in the book is when Jesus actually appeared in the book. Now, the story from Jesus being when he appeared, but before then, it was all dark. But it seemed like when he showed up, everything changed. All of a sudden, everything changed. Oh, now we got to live in peace. But I always look at the concept of Jesus, whether he existed or not, if there's proven facts or not. To live in that spirit can make us as peaceful individuals ourselves. You know, I speak about the footage of the Spirit, and even though the Holy Spirit didn't come into play until decades after Jesus was already gone, that was never mentioned in the Bible beforehand. If it has been, then someone please, I love to do my research. I love researching. So someone please let me know where to find that at in the Bible before Jesus came into play. Okay. Also, the name itself. I would ask Wes these questions as far as the name itself. And the God that the Israelites decided to take on as their God, the God of armies, and it speaks about that in the Bible about Yahweh, Jehovah, being the God of armies. So I don't question that, and if that's the God they chose to worship because of what they were going through during that time, then that's the God they worship. Because there were many gods before then. Wes said there's only one God, but he's basing all his facts on the Bible, but not outside the Bible. He's only going on what he's learned from the Bible. From my understanding, anyway, he may have other sources or whatever, but I do know that the God of armies is the God that the Israelites had decided to worship. Now I go back to my ancestors, being of Cherokee nations. I know that they prayed to different, like they prayed for harvest. They prayed for if there was a deity that they prayed to, one deity they prayed to for all these things, then I have to do my research too as far as my history goes and my ancestors and what they believed in. But I know there's other places, other tribes, other civilizations that actually worship other gods. And so we go into that, now, do you pray to this God for those purposes? Do you pray to Yahweh just for for protection, to if you are into war, going to war? Because the Bible is based off of really a lot of war, a lot of fighting, a lot of and so and Jehovah was they said was a jealous God. That's, according to the book, that's what it said. He's a jealous God, and not to serve any God but Him, and this and that. So it goes all back into the you gotta look at the Egyptian, compare the Egyptian tablets with the Bible, and I would definitely I don't know why Billy didn't bring this up to Wes when they were in that debate as far as the historical proof that's been written on the hieroglyphs that he's actually studied, that Billy actually studied, and compare those with what's written in the Bible. The even the birth of Jesus, like all that dealing with the same comparison with ISIS and the Immaculate, the birth of what is it, the birth that she had as well. I want to say Osiris, and I forget the other names, but yeah, so just being in comparison with that, I'm not knowledgeable into all that. I haven't really did all my research like I need to do as far as it goes. But I do know I do listen to Billy, and I listen to the debate with Wes. I never really followed Wes per se, because when I stepped away from religion and all that, and Christianity, and knowing the history behind it and this and that. So I basically just walked away from it all. And but West does have some knowledgeable things that he has studied. But I would definitely question some things that I have questions of. Not saying that what he believes in is false or whatever. I just want to be more knowledgeable about what I believe in personally. And this I just got to watching a video about there were some guys on there talking about the New Age belief. And if you think about it, if you actually think about it and step outside of the Bible, because if this book was never created, if the book was never created, what would your basis be? What would you have to believe in if this book was never created? You have to think about that. Okay, and what they call the New Age belief system, I believe it's a time of the time of awakening, when people are starting to wake up to who they truly are. And a lot of Christians are not. They're not going with that, because they're so used to what they have been taught when it comes to the Bible and their belief systems or whatever. So, but he did mention how that we are all God, having a different human experiences, and we all have that God spark within us. And when he explains it, it definitely makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to me, especially. I resonate with that a lot. I do feel like that when it comes to the Christ, I believe, if you looked at, you may want to research that as far as the Christ goes. But having that Christ-like conscious state of mind, to me, again, will be like the fruits of the Spirit. And once you live in righteousness and you live accordingly, and I mentioned this in my last video about how when Jesus was here and he spoke about how there would be many that would come after him and do many works, greater than he has done. And if we're followers of Christ, then why aren't we doing this? Why is it demonized? Why is a lot of stuff that we do is demonized? And I don't understand that. And it's just that I have so many questions. I really do. And I'm not saying that I don't believe in what I believe in, because I have strong beliefs in what I do believe in and what I've actually experienced myself hands on. I've been attacked. I've been through what Jesus have been through. And when he say there'll be many that will come after me to do many works as I have done and more, there has been, but you also got to look at too, as far as what did he do when he was here? What did Jesus do when he was here? And those people who are doing that today, they look at that as, oh, that's the New Age belief system, and that we should not follow it because they believe in crystals, they believe in spirits, and they believe in all this kind of stuff or whatever. But if you go back into the Bible, speaking of stones, which I have right here, I have plenty. My stones are right. I got stones. And like I have stones, but but each one of those stones does represent something, and they come from the Creator himself. They come from the earth. So, and they have I wouldn't say magical powers, but if you put it in the in the content of how they are healing and how they will help mankind out or whatever, they can be magical. and there have been frequencies on these. There have been, I mean, there's been so much science around surrounding the crystals or whatever. But also there were crystals and I want to say crystals, but they were what Aaron had put into his apron. What Aaron stones is what he called it was what they were called. Um, and as a matter of fact, let me look this up. Hold on. Because I am so it's late, but I have to get on here and I don't even have my okay. They have a reference dictionary in the back, so I'm looking up the stones for Aaron's apron. Let's see if it'll take me to it if I look it up. I don't know how it. I'm gonna try to find stones. Okay. Cut out not by hands. Okay. The stone that the builders rejected, and then if silent, the stone would cry out. So I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, because I don't know scriptures by heart like that. I don't. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't. Let's see. They had astrologers that came to Jerusalem. Same astrologers that came in, but they say that we're not supposed to get into astrology and all that. It doesn't relate to the Bible, but evidently it do. So let's see. I don't see. I don't know where to go to. Because it don't even have Aaron in the Bible. Well, it has Aaron in the Bible, but not where I'm looking at. So I'll have to go back to it later and bring it up. But I believe it's in Hebrew. But I'm not 100% sure. Okay, well, forget it. I'm not gonna be able to find it. But anyway, I wanted to just touch bases on that aspect of it. And talking about the stones and the healing works and this and this and that and the other. Now I just seen a video on YouTube about the sun and how he walked on the water, and how that wasn't true because the sun, when it reflects on the water, it actually, when it rises, or when it sets, or whatever, the sun, when the sun comes up, it actually is on top of the water. So I don't know how true that is or not. I don't know. But stories about what Jesus did, don't know. Don't know if these stories are even true. I'm gonna just put it out. I'm gonna just put it. I don't know if these miracles were even true. Don't know. How will we find out if they're true or not? I don't know. So, based off of that, I feel like that each individual should look within. I do believe that each one of us has a gift, and when we tap it, because that has been proven. I have seen people do things that defies all comprehension as far as a human being, So I know that we have the power to do a lot of different things. And I'm sure that if Jesus went to these different places or whatever and they taught him these things, that they were already knowledgeable about these things. These people, these places already existed. He did disappear from the Bible for a long period of time or whatever. And from my understanding, he went over and learned these things in other places or whatever, if he existed. And these things have been but I mean, that does make sense, coming to a place of his birth and showing them all the things that he had learned from scholars and from all these masters or whatever, and to bring it to a new country and to show these people these things or whatever. They didn't know what to think. I mean, what would you think if somebody came to you and they started, levitating, and they started raising the dead, and they started doing all these different things or whatever, some stuff you ain't never even heard of or seen or nothing, and he tells you that he's the Son of God, and mind you, the name Yeshua was Joshua, and which was a common name in that time. But just like the Muslims don't believe that he was crucified, I don't know if he was crucified or not. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that he was crucified on a stake. Christianity, they believe they died on a cross, whatever. And do your research on the cross, as what I would say, as far as where that came from. And also, the picture of the cross that the Catholics do is coming to mind, but I'm not going to speak on that right now. But if you do the cross, over your body, it that's, to me, is I'm just gonna say it. I ain't gonna hold back. It looks like an upside down cross. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I mean, that's just what it looks like. I mean, if you go from here to, the art. I mean, come on now. But that's what it looks like to me. They do mark the foreheads of the people, or whatever, with this cross too, when they anoint them. So I don't know. It's just a lot of things that I have to question, and I question everything. I'm not gonna lie, I question everything. And my daughter always said, "Mama, why you always asking questions? Why you always?" Because if you don't ask questions, how else are you gonna know? I'm asking questions because I want to know. I want to be knowledgeable about things, not to just be nosy, but because there are people out here who are lost. Listen, I'm not woke. I mean, I'm woke on some things, but there's some things that I feel like I still need to be knowledgeable about for my own spirituality and spiritual growth and things of that sort, and I don't know where we go when we die. I don't know. I mean, there's Doreen Cannon. I'm sorry. Doreen Cannon, who speaks about, and near death experiences and the stories that she speaks about. These individuals that had near death experiences and went to the other side and they came back or whatever. Um, Dolores Cannon. I don't know. I think I said Doreen. Dolores Cannon. Um, but so we don't know. We don't know what happens. But I have a feeling, and I strongly want to believe that, and I do believe that my people are still here with me, and they're fighting for me. And Billy Carson did mention that he doesn't believe in angels and the devil. He doesn't believe in that. He believes in God, but he doesn't believe in angels and demons or devils or whatever. Me per se, I believe that we create them based off of our we create demons based off of our negative thinking and flawed and us being flawed human beings. And so I do think we create those. I do believe if there's demons that we create, we also create angels. We can also, well, I would say, well, we are the creator, so I would say that we can create angels as far as now there are angels that they speak about in the Bible, and where they get this information from. How do they know what the names of these angels were? How do they know they were cherubs and Zephron, was it Zephron or whatever? How do they know this? That would be my next question. I mean, based off the Bible, where did they get their knowledge from? What did they get that from? Who told them that? So it's a lot of questions that I have. I'm not gonna lie. So if this video reaches Wes or Billy Carson or whoever else, any Bible scholars out there or whatever, to give me some answers to my questions that I have, I would definitely appreciate it. I would definitely want to at least tell me where to go to do my research. I don't know where to even start to even do the research to find out these answers. So if anybody is knowledgeable about that, I'm not a Bible scholar. I do research, but I need to know where is my starting point. Where do I need to go, and then go from there. Now I do know that a lot of these people that go over and do their research, if they're funded by, they have resources to where they can go and find this information out, whether it's money wise, financial wise, whatever. Now I'm not financially stable enough to where one's financially in a place, I'm not gonna say stable, but financially in a place to where I'm able to get those resources. So now if there's a cheaper way or a better way or whatever that I can find this, and then by all means let me know. And they do talk about meditation in the Bible. And so I do meditate, and then you can see my girl back there, she's doing her meditation. She does I do believe that I believe in energy. I believe in vibrations. And science have backed this up as well. So I do my meditations. I don't see anything wrong. They were talking about affirmations of being a new age. I don't see nothing wrong with telling yourself positive things. If it's going to make you feel it in your spirit, just like when the Christians call upon Jesus and they have that strong belief that Jesus is going to do all these things for them, or God is going to do all these things for them. It's the same belief that you have when you wake up and you tell yourself, I'm going to have a great day. And you believe that, trust and believe me, you're going to have a great day. Whatever, and talking about manifestation, it speaks about manifestation in the Bible. It speaks about all this, and so I say this: I will take in the meat and spit out the bones. Take what's good to your spirit and your soul when it comes to reading anything. If it feeds you and it makes you grow into a better version of you, then by all means, I will take that knowledge in and I would feed it to myself. Spiritual food is the best food. And my mom always taught this, that and not only did she teach it, but um, the witnesses they teach this as well. Spiritual food is nourishing to the soul. So spirituality does not have to come from a Bible. It does not have to come from a church. It does not have to come from a preacher. Spirituality is your own personal relationship with your higher self and with the higher being that you believe in, that feeds you. Whether you say it's God, whether you say it's Yahweh, whether you say it's Jesus, it doesn't matter. As long as you as an individual can be a better person, a better version of you, and live in peace and harmony with one another. And this world can be a tremendous great place if we all get out of our ego, and because the ego is to me is there for a couple of reasons, but if you can't live in the ego, if you live in the ego, it can become a dark place. And if you live out the ego, it can become demonic. And then if you go towards someone else, you put that energy, you project that energy off on someone else. So I do not suggest to live in the ego, but the ego is there to wake us up to ourselves, the true nature of ourselves. There are, when we come into the knowing of ourselves, the spiritual growth, dedicating our life for truth and knowledge, there are entities that we do not see, that we have created, that does not want us to speak about this. We become a target. Even the witnesses, when a person get baptized, they say you are now a target for Satan's snares, or demonic forces been upon you. But I believe also that you don't have to actually be baptized in water to make that dedication that you are now going to be a person of truth, and you're going to dedicate your life to reveal that. Whether you saying that to God, whether you saying it to yourself, or whatever, you have a inner something inside of you wants to know the truth and speak the truth. And because of that, yes, you will become a target. And because people and entities do not want you to speak the truth. And what I do on my channel, I speak the truth. I whether I use divination tools, whether I use the Bible, whether I use whatever it takes to get the truth out, is what I do. I do also believe that these entities are spiritual beings, or people who send negative forces out, whether it's through a thought, whether it's through any source, whether they go into a person who does witchcraft in a negative way, because we all do witchcraft, whether you know it or not. Yes, we do. And it depends on what you call witchcraft as well. Because to me, I still question it to this day. What is witchcraft? What is it? Because when you hear the words, or when you hear the word witch, you automatically get a negative view. And I spoke about this in my last video, about how when those words are mentioned, that we tend to think of somebody who is casting something against someone, and there's people who do that. They fall into the dark arts. They do. And they want to harm another human being, or they want to go against somebody's free will. So you do have to be careful because there are people out here who do works like this. And if they can't do it themselves, if people can't do it themselves, they will go to someone and hire this person to do the works for them, spell work or whatever. Um, Now, as a what they would call a light worker or angelic being or a chosen one or whatever you want to call it, you know, they say, oh, that's a new age saying. They people feel like they are chosen. Well, I do know that when I was in going to the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever, and I don't want to go in here and just speak about that religion per se, but that is the religion I was grew up in, so that's the only religion that I know. So I never went to any other Christian church or whatever. I did never decide to get baptized in any other church, especially if I didn't want to. If what I've already been taught growing up, there was no way I was going to convert to any other religion other than no. I was not going to do that. I wanted to find out the truth for myself, and from what I've already been taught about Christianity, there was no way. There was no way. And Jehovah's Witnesses, they actually call themselves Christians. They consider themselves as Christians because they follow Jesus Christ. Okay, so but as far as the other religions, I was not gonna do it. So so lost my train of thought. But with all that being said, we will become a target. And I do believe in there's the earth angels. I believe in, I believe that these beings really exist. I'm not going to say angels don't exist. I'm not going to say that my ancestors don't need, they're not here with me. I'm not going to say that because I don't believe that. Whether it's true or not, or whatever, that's what I believe in. And now, if I get, once I find out the truth sometimes hurts, and the truth, but the truth will set you free. It will just set you free from yourself. Okay? But I don't know. I feel like that there's more to learn. There's more that will be revealed. And there's, if you can build on what you already know now, sometimes you may have to unlearn and relearn. And I came into this knowledge, when I came into the knowledge of truth, I had a better understanding of who my higher power is, and a awesome, better relationship with that source. And there are things that I know that I don't know how I know, but it's revealed to me. Now, whether we living in a simulation or whatever, I don't know. I don't know how true that is. I don't know. We as humans do not know until we are opened up, until we tap into what they call the Akashic records. That too is questionable, So these things that I'm just now learning about, the last few years, and I've been studying on them. So I can't say I won't tell you to believe it, and I won't tell you that. I will tell you to do your research. That's what I will tell you. Just as well as I need to do my research, I will tell you to do the same. Okay? And I'm here to let you know that I am not fully knowledgeable about the things that have been said as far as people's belief systems, as far as what they have put out there. I'm going based off of my story and what I've been through. And so I share it with my audience. And to let you guys know that no, I am not proficient. I'm not a scholar. I'm just telling my story for what it is, and what I believe in, and why I believe in it. And I think that, well, I know that I believe in what I believe in because I have a sense of, I've basically have went within to see what it was that I need to do to improve myself and things of that sort. And I do believe that, people come into our lives for a reason. I have to believe that, you know, and I've learned myself through other people. And believe that I do believe in the one consciousness, and so I mean, the things that they talk about, as far as Christianity goes, and compared to what they call the New Age thinking or whatever. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. It makes a lot more sense than what I used to believe in, and the religious beliefs. It makes a lot more sense for me as an individual, and for me to wake up to my true self, and me growing up in the religious beliefs, it did put the foundation. It laid the foundation of who I'm supposed to be as far as in this world, who I want to be to myself, and how I want to be towards others. I don't want to be this mean and nasty and vindictive person or whatever. No, I don't want to be that person. And that's not what they teach. And they mainly focus on how we supposed to live in this world amongst people who are like that. And the only way they can teach that and to live like that is through the Gospels of Jesus. So and there was others that came before him. There was Mal and Meek or whatever, but they also turned out to be, I don't want to go into detail about it, but so when Jesus came into play, I always used to say, before I made a decision about anything that I would do, what would Jesus do? Ted, the little bear on the on that show, I think it's called Ted, Ted or something like that. And I haven't seen that anymore advertised. Well, he was doing all this crazy stuff or whatever. The bear that talked or whatever, the little toy bear that talked. But he said, "What would Jesus do?" And I do question that. I used to always say that, and if you do ask yourself that, if you're a strong believer in Jesus Christ or whatever, and you would want to ask yourself that, because a lot of people don't even ask themselves that, before they make any decision on anything. If they feel like they're about to do something, oh, what would Jesus do in this sense? Maybe they would not do a lot of things that they do. Now that I have woken up to the truth about as far as who he was as an individual, I myself look at myself in that aspect. I'm not gonna say it's Christ. I'm not gonna say that. But I would say I have experienced some of the things that that he had talked about, and so when I read those words about him, I can resonate. It resonates with me. It resonates with me a lot. So take what you must, whatever. I don't know. There's people out here who don't even believe in God, who don't believe in Jesus, who don't believe they're atheists or whatever, and that's on them. They choose to believe in what they want to believe. And like I said, I believe like what Billy Carson said. I'm not gonna I've been a follower of his for quite some time, but not because he said it, because I had already, the stuff that he talks about, I had already knew that within. And this is before I even looked at anybody else. He's the only person actually that I even watched that the stuff that I already knew for myself, and I had to watch anybody else. I hadn't followed anybody else. I hadn't read no books or nothing. This is stuff that I didn't know how I knew this stuff. But when I watched him and seen that he was on the same page that I was like, of course I'm gonna listen to him. Of course I'm gonna follow him. You know. Now, as far as like I said, as far as the books, the Codex of Sinai and that Jesus didn't die and all that, when he talks about all that, I don't have no clue about any of that. That's not why I watched him or whatever. But it's his belief system of what he believed in is why I followed him, and him talking about the ancient cultures and Egyptian studies and stuff like that, or whatever. Because I also am interested in Egypt and the hieroglyphs and things that were written inside the tombs and all that kind of stuff. So um, I'm a nerd for sure. I'm definitely a nerd. I am definitely a nerd. So, but it's 45 minutes I've been on here talking. I just wanted to come on here and give my spiel about the debate that I watched with Billy Carson and West. I know Billy Carson felt like he got defeated, or I'm not gonna say he felt like he got defeated because I don't know how he felt about it. But on the internet, it does say something about he got defeated. I don't believe he got defeated. I believe that he was not proficient as far as like the knowledge, as far as what he gave, as far as that one little topic, and that's what the guy West was kept reiterating on as far as that goes. And at the end, West did say that he called West back. I mean, Billy Carson back to go over some of the studies and findings that he had, and if Billy would go on and make the correction on make a public announcement that he did make the mistake, whatever, as far as the studies goes or whatever. And I think a lot of his pride probably would be hurt, and his pride probably did get hurt, and that's the reason why he did do the lawsuit or whatever. He actually took down the video that he made, and I heard that his wife did a video as well, but I'm not sure about that either because I haven't watched the video. But I did watch Billy Carson's video before he took it down, and he was very upset, highly upset, and I can understand why. I understand why he was upset, but also I would tell Billy to put his pride aside, get out of his ego, and be this take accountability as far as not the as far as what he of what he was told, what West actually was saying about the knowledge that he knew about the Sinai Bible and the Book of Barnabas and things of that sort or whatever. And all Billy has to do was just say, that those are not his strong points when it comes to the biblical knowledge or whatever, when it comes to that or whatever, and leave it at that. And let the people know that West is more could be more knowledgeable in that aspect, and that he would have to go back and do his research or whatever if he wants to get another debate or whatever. But with that being said, I still believe in what Billy Carson has been saying or whatever. Now, when it comes to the biblical aspect of it, I would do my own research, and also West, if his credentials are upstanding, then by all means, I would definitely take West's consideration when it comes to the knowledge that he has. But I also think West needs to be more knowledgeable about what he's reading as well, because if he's basing everything just off the Bible and not what his own inner self is saying, in comparison with what the book is saying. I also would ask West as far as the time frame of when the book was written. I would ask him about the Torah, the Torah manuscripts. I would ask him about the book of the Bible that's in Ethiopia. I would also ask him as far as Constantine and how all that came about, as far as the books being written, and why was Paul the main one why did his books get put in there, and why was he called the Apostle Paul? And he wasn't an apostle, but his books, and where in his history. I would definitely do research on Paul. I talk a lot about Paul in the books or whatever. So that's questionable, and I would want answers, and so if Wes sees that, I would want him to reach out to me, or just make a public, just do a podcast about it or whatever. It doesn't matter. I I just have these questions that I just want to know. I just want to know, so that way I can be clear. So that way, when someone come to me and ask me these questions, that I'm able to um, give them resources of where I got my information from, and yeah, so I can be knowledgeable about it myself. So each one teach one, we reach one. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here, and I hope that what I've said can reach somebody, and don't let. I'll just leave it at this. No matter what you hear on the internet, no matter what you see on TV, no matter what you read or any of that, this journey is all about you. This journey is your journey. And everybody's journey is not going to be the same. And everybody's not going to get there. Um, you know, we all go through certain things. And we all on different levels. When it comes to spiritual growth and everything and knowledge and all that, we're all on different levels. So don't be judgmental when it comes to what a person knows and what they don't know. Because some of us are just ignorant. We just don't know. So um take just be a good person. Just be a good person all the way around. Be righteous and do good for one another. you know and if you really want to read the Bible, I would definitely read the Gospels about Jesus. I would definitely do that, and not saying that because of what I believe as far as Jesus goes or whatever. That the book of the stories about Jesus is what really made me um, feel the way I do. I'm passionate about speaking the truth, and passionate about what he brought forth as far as educating mankind and teaching about the kingdom. And people say, well, what is the kingdom? The kingdom was about you. It was about self and how to be a productive person in this world amongst chaos and all, among all this crazy mess. And once we get into that space and become that person, we are one with that higher source, with God. We are with that source. So, and that source is part of us, and we are part of it. So take what you say, take from this whatever you must or whatever, but just be a good person at the end of the day and be righteous. And with that being said, make sure you love yourself and each other. Bye bye.